You can see here two things. One is shape morphing, and the other is mesh weight control, and both of them are done with one tool, the cast modifier. So let's take a close look into it. In this new Blender scene, I will keep only the cube, and with edit mode, let's give it some subdivisions. 20 or 30 cuts should do fine for the thing we need to show. Next, let's add the cast modifier from the deform menu. The cube will deform into the default cast shape, which is the sphere, and in the modifier settings you will see the shape menu along with other properties that you can control. So let's go through them from top to bottom. The shape area has three types: sphere, cylinder, and cube. Those three are the options which you can deform to. Next, you have the axes. By default, they're all enabled, and you click on any of them to turn it off. With this, we can give the effect to the axis we want and exclude the other ones. The factor value gives you control on how much deformation you want, and you can see here by increasing the factor number and turning off the z-axis, you can get some sus result. This can help you in sculpting, if you know what I mean. And if we make the factor on 1, and with all the axis enabled, you will get a sphere with all quad faces, since with the normal UV sphere, the top is triangulated, so that will come in handy in one way or another. The next two options are simple. The radius is the distance of the deformation from the center. Leaving it on 0 will make it on the entire shape. The size is by default disabled with the checkbox under it, and changing its value won't affect the shape unless you uncheck the size from radius option. This way you can increase it above 0 if you want more control, since 0 value is auto on the entire shape, similar to the radius, but I don't think you need to play with the size much unless you're weird. The bottom two fields are important. The top one is for vertex group. With this, we can limit the deformation to any area we want. In this process, you need to highlight a set of vertices or faces in edit mode, let's say those 3 faces, and then assign as a vertex group in data properties. After that, if we select this group we made in the cast modifier, the deformation will affect only the vertex group assigned. And this is but a simple example in doing it. The vertex weight mode is out there for you. Here you can weight paint vertices and control the deformation more smoothly. The bottom field is for the object you can assign as a deformation force. For example, if we go back to the sphere shape, then add to the scene an empty object, we can assign this empty in the object field and move it around to affect the cast modifier area. You see here that the sphere is moving with the empty. This happens because the size is 0. We can increase the size to lose that problem. There's also a new checkbox under the object field for the transformation. Enabling it will give us more control over the deformation by simply scaling or rotating the empty. You can also stack more than one cast modifier in the same object, so if you want to deform the original cube shape to a sphere 1, then from that to a cylinder, you can do it with 2 cast modifiers, and with simple keyframing for the factor value, you can get the animation you saw in the intro. The cylinder is a bit harsh on the ends. You can lose that with the smooth modifier since it's lighter than the subsurface, and just crack up the repeat value. However, for a simple shape like this one, the subsurface modifier will do fine. And speaking of the subsurface modifier, we did make a video on how to animate the subdivision level, so make sure to check it out once you need that. Links are in the description. You can also use the cast modifier to mimic weight proximity, and it goes like this. Let's have a plane with a lot of subdivisions, then add on it the cast modifier. We also need an object. A sphere can do the trick, and scale it down, since the plane is also not that big. If we now assign this sphere as a force object, then move it around, It will affect the plane like shown, which is super cool in many ways that can be done fast without heavy simulations or tons of nodes. From here, the options are the same: play with the factor, control the radius and size. You can also smooth it with a subsurface level 1. With this, you add simple keyframe animation on the sphere to make some nice effects. And it can be affected with the sphere transformation, so give it a try. You might like this one. And that's it. Like and share if you care, and see you in another video. Stay sharp. Goodbye.